Welcome to The Abundance Journey, the show that helps spiritual entrepreneurs create an abundance mindset that accelerates revenue. Secretly, everything you experience in your life is actually abundance. Once you understand how to activate abundance, you find yourself in flow with your business and clients, so it's easy to create the revenue you want. The Abundance Journey is the only show that activates abundance for you, so you enjoy rapid results in your business. Here's your host, the Abundance Ambassador, Elaine Starling.
You know, abundance has many different forms and faces. And to me, honestly, the most important form of abundance is self-love. And self-love can be really challenging at times. I gotta tell you, sometimes we take a very difficult road. We question our existence, our purpose, and the value of our lives. The stories we tell ourselves can take us to a very dark space. It's so ironic that we actually tend to learn the most from stories. Witnessing the struggle, the obstacles, and how the characters choose to move through them in spite of the fear is one of the most uplifting and empowering experiences humans can have. So, how can we live with our stories, learn from them, and edit them into blessings that actually enrich our lives? Is there an expert for that? Yeah, and we're chatting with her today. That's why I am so excited that we get to talk to Gina Cavalier. She is just amazing. She's an author, a writer, an artist, a public speaker, the executive producer at Love and Media, and the founder of The Liberated Healer. Gina is super dedicated to all kinds of different kinds of media, books, programs, documentaries, mobile applications, support groups, anything that she can do to address the most pressing issues facing humanity. Her mission is to inspire and support people through diverse storytelling, ultimately aiming to impact the world positively. She's a media veteran, a former entertainment studio executive, and a technology enthusiast. In fact, she's got a new book coming out, Surviving Suicidal Ideation: From Therapy to Spirituality and the Lived Experience. It's a sharing of her biographical tale and her own profound journey and healing her suicidal ideation. I am having difficulty saying this because I see your sweet, beautiful smile, and it's like, wow, you went through so much, Gina, and you're here.
I am here. Oh, and I'm loving it.
I'm so delighted.
I'm loving so many different, beautiful parts of it. So thank you for that lovely introduction. And I have done a lot. I have worn a lot of hats. Earlier on, wearing all those hats where I hid behind being a studio executive. I hid behind all the things that, I was actually married to a rock star. I had this life, and I was secretly feeling disconnected, and that I didn't have a purpose here and I didn't belong here. And my first thought of ideation was at the age of 8. And it was just, to me, an awful existence. And so I'm so grateful to have this platform to communicate what has helped me come to the other side. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that, because you have such a wonderful, perfect background that really blends in the stories that we tell ourselves. But before we start going there, because I'm really eager to just jump in and start getting ideas from you, I really want to sync up our energy, both yours and mine, with all of our audience, as well as with the divine, because I know that when we do that, this is so much more than what you or I would normally contribute, Gina. When we are connected and open, divine messages flow through us. And yeah, it's our voices, but it's so much more. And by taking the time to sync up that energy, the audience can actually receive more. So this is a profound experience. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to start by breathing together 3 times, and we breathe in through the nose and think the words I am. And as we breathe out through the mouth, think the word consciousness. We're going to do that 3 times, and then I'm going to read the intention. Now, the intention is what we want to create and how we want to feel while we're creating it. And then we're going to hold it in total silence for 78 seconds, because the current research shows human beings have a shorter attention span than goldfish. You've seen all the quick cuts, the commercials that are constantly changing the viewpoint and all of that. It's really hard for people to hold focus. So here's a couple things that can help you hold that focus so that the divine has the time to latch on to that higher vibration and really bring you the gifts that you deserve through this conversation. A couple of things that really help. Identify 2 or 3 words that are in that intention that just feel expansive and uplifting and so powerful and delicious. And just repeat those 2 or 3 words over and over to yourself through the entire 78 seconds. Just hold that vibration. The other thing to do is notice what happens with your body. You might get goosebumps, or you might feel angels playing with your hair. You know, weird things can happen. And all that is, it's a sign that the God of your understanding has locked into that higher vibration and is already starting to move the energy in that direction. So it's a really good sign. Are you ready to play?
I'm ready. Let's go, folks.
Okay. Let's breathe together 3 times. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. In love and light, we hold the intention that we rewrite unsupportive stories so that they express the divine love that we are, showcasing our values and talents and celebrating our amazing lives. Thank you, divine. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is done. We give thanks, and so it is. Wow, there was a lot of energy around that. That was amazing. What did you experience, Gina?
I saw each of us, it was just a bunch of people, so I couldn't see what they look like, just sort of the back of their heads. But I saw almost every person that's going to be able to get in the space timelessly, like even years from now, when they do this meditation. I saw Saint Germain come in, and we were all in a field of wheat that was blowing. And it was basically just to put us there, just to listen to that soft wind moving through us, and, you know, just be on planet Earth, and just to kind of have that moment of sometimes just that simple being in a field of wheat. That's the abundance. Wheat is a symbol of abundance, and, you know, putting ourselves there energetically as a unit. It was a bunch of people's energy, so it was really beautiful.
I love that energetic union. It's so powerful. It really makes a big difference. And I was focusing in on celebrating our amazing lives. And I recently received a download from the divine saying, whatever you put your attention on, whatever you're focused on, is what you're celebrating.
Mm-hmm.
So, are you celebrating things that really serve you and empower you and uplift you? Or are you celebrating the things you don't really like in your life? It's kind of your choice as to where you put your focus. Now, obviously, there are challenges that come up in life that can really derail us. And you're so passionate. I'm really impressed by the work that you're doing, Gina. It's so urgently needed. Why are you dedicating your life to this mission?
So I believe, and through the people I've spoken to almost daily about suicidal ideation, that people that have it and tend to have had it most of their lives don't know that they can live a life without it. And I'm here to say, you can live without it. You can move it out of your life. It doesn't have to be there. Healing is a solo sport, but you're going to have a lot of support. And I'm going to share with you how I did it. And maybe some of that will resonate with you. But I want to be that beacon of, oh, I don't have to live this way. I didn't know that. I knew it was a part of my life. And anytime I could foresee a big obstacle coming or a life transition, such as losing a job or a divorce or anything that was going to come my way, I would already go into massive fear, knowing that when that thing did happen or when the shoe dropped, that I was going to go through a big, a whirlpool of stages of unworthiness, and that it was all going to come back and that I might not make it this time. And nobody knew about that. And I didn't know how to express it because it doesn't come, suicidal ideation for the most part from the people I've spoken to, it's not something that is in their life every day. It's not like a clinical depression where you really have to deal with this, or bipolar disorder, or these other mental health conditions. For the most part, it's not something they experience every day. They have full living lives, and then something will trigger it. And that trigger will have stages, and those stages can last a day, 2 days, 3 days, a week, maybe a month. But it's not a full-blown, your whole year was suicidal. So that's a part of the reason why people don't want to express their thoughts, because they know it's going to move away, hopefully. And so why am I going to expose this thing in me that a lot of people would consider as a fault or as a failure of me as a person or individual? Why am I going to wear that on my label and as on a sleeve? And that's going to hurt me get a job or my relationships, or now I have this label over my head, which we all know we don't like. So that is what's deterring people from getting help and creating a part of the stigma. And as we do that, that's when we're losing all these people because they're feeling like they cannot communicate. So
yeah. Wow. That is so rough. And it's really interesting that you say that. I have this little thing here that I'm going to see if I can get it to work and share with you. Can you see this?
yes.
This is my Weeble. Do you remember Weebles when you were a little kid? They wobble, but they don't fall down. Now this one makes this little tune. That's not what I say when life knocks me off kilter. No, I tend to turn the air blue. Why does this happen to me? What the heck's going on here? What's wrong with me? I'm not enough. All the things that go through my head when life knocks me sideways. Like you say, those transitions can really take us off our game. So I know this is kind of an odd connection, but I really see the connection between abundance and what you're talking about. So I've never had two people define abundance exactly the same way. Given what you're doing to help people overcome that suicidal ideation, how would you define abundance?
Well, you have to learn how to love, you have to learn how to be lonely. To learn how to live, you have to learn how to unpack every part of yourself. and surrounding that with just different levels. You can transform anything that you need to into love. I got lost for a second.
It's the definition of abundance. And I totally get what you're saying, because yes, you can transform everything into love.
Yes, absolutely. I listened to your TED Talk and I completely agree with you that abundance is, of course, love and friendships. And it's not just the financial aspect and even finances. One of my last woundings is how my relationship with money. And I realized even recently that money is just energy. It isn't a physical thing outside of myself that has power over me. And so even that relationship, that I needed to work on my relationship with money and what it meant to me. And now that I've come through the other side and I'm earning money a little bit, but through something that I'm passionate about, I have a different relationship with money than I did before, when I was just doing something I considered to have a little less value in. So yes, it's less amount of finances, but I have so much more love for it.
Yeah.
And it is feeding me in different ways, and I'm appreciating it and in ways that I can't explain.
It's so interesting that you bring this up, because I really appreciate that, acknowledging that abundance is actually a form of energy. And truly, whatever you want in your life, the nice house, the great car, the awesome relationship, whatever you want in your life, you only want it because you think it will make you feel better about yourself. It's that self-love. And in truth, when you can go inside and realize that you're very capable, you're very resourceful, you have the ability to find the blessings in the moment and move through it with grace and ease. When you acknowledge yourself for those kinds of things, that is abundance, because it all starts to flow your way. You have to feel it first. You feel abundant. I call it, yeah, baby, energy. It's like you're entering a room filled with presents, and they're all for you. And you have no idea what's there. And it doesn't matter what order you open them in. You don't know what's going to happen, and you're excited and delighted, that grateful curiosity that allows you to just savor the moment and realize what a blessing it is to be here and to be you. Honestly, you are the best thing for this planet. So I totally get where you're coming from, and all the people that you're working with. What is kind of a common symptom? Where are people stuck before they start working with you?
A lot of times they're feeling disconnected or numb and hopeless. And a lot of people have some type of PTSD or trauma. And life is full of mountains and hills, and they're walking up the mountains with boulders on their back. So they're not being able to process obstacles in a way that it's just like, one more thing, I'm going to go down, And the thing is that life is about obstacles and conflict. And this is also what's really deterring the younger ages, because they haven't really received conflict resolution skills. They really feel like when these big things happen, it is under their life. Like their life was going to be changed forever, such as the young kids that are getting bullied, or they're having something come out on social media and they're thinking, oh my gosh, my life is over. They're not being taught coping skills or, how to get through these things. So getting the tool set that you need to climb these mountains is absolutely vital. And whatever you put in your toolkit that resonates with you is absolutely, like, you have to curate that toolkit. So, but there's foundational things that we need to do first. And to be able to hear your intuition, that what is going to be in your toolkit, you need to do what we did earlier on. You need to meditate. You need to get grounded. You need to get quiet. In the quiet is where you hear your inner self and your higher self and start to understand, wow, music really transforms me when I'm in a bad spot, or I need to be in water, or I want to connect with my guides a little more. Because we all come in this life with a blueprint. And that in that blueprint, we have themes in our life and we have gifts in our life that are individual that we've chosen before we incarnated here. And we need to discover what those are as a journey. And it's fun, actually. When you start to look at, we're actually kind of playing this interesting game here on Earth, and every obstacle that comes our way is an opportunity to unpack that lesson and find out what is behind it. What is it that we need to learn? I tell people a lot of times, if you've ever met someone when you first meet them, like say a new boss or something, and you cannot stand them instantly, like, oh my gosh, like that is like the worst personality for me. And I'm overwhelmed. Like, I just don't like this person and I don't know why. That's the person that you need to go into compassion with yourself and for them and unpack. Why don't you like that person? Because usually there's either something mirroring about yourself or there's something in there that you need to resolve. So if we start to look at things as a opportunist journey every single day and say, wow, I'm going to see what's behind that. It takes the weight off. It makes it a little bit more fun and interactive and exciting, and go, wow, you know what I learned about myself today? And young kids, I think, would flourish in this area.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you're right. We aren't teaching these kinds of personal coping skills, not in schools. And I think it's so important that we have an opportunity to practice them and get comfortable with them. One of the things that I love to do is meditate and then journal, because journaling allows me to get that objective perspective on what's going through my mind. And often divine messages flow through. I mean, it's so interesting because I just start writing and I stop when I feel complete. And then I'll go back and read it out loud. And it's like, holy cow, that was not me writing that. Might have been my hand and my pen, but I don't know where that came from. You are so much more connected than you realize. And your willingness to accept it and your declaration of what you are accepting makes all the difference in the world. I read a really interesting book. I know a little side story, but it's relevant. I read a really cool book called A Happy Pocket Full of Money. A Happy Pocket Full of Money. It's a great book, highly recommend it. And in the book, the author's talking about the power of I am goals. And it just intuitively felt right. But of course, there was that immediate thought in my mind of, it'd be so nice if I could think of an example in my own life where I used an I am goal and it actually freaking worked. That would be so cool. And then I got this blinding flash of the obvious. And I saw myself with my husband, then boyfriend, years and years ago. And I had a conversation with him where I said something like this: honey, I'm so happy and grateful that I get to share life with you. I am so blessed. I love that you don't see the world the way I do. Because when I can hear you, and I can't all the time, but when I can, it really expands my world. I am so lucky. I'm so happy. I'm so blessed. I am more in love with you every single day.
I love it.
And here we've been together for 44 years, and we are more in love every single day. It is possible. You have to declare what you want. And starting with, I am so happy and grateful, that is a really great intro. And then what is wanted makes all the difference in the world. Now, Gina, you've overcome a great deal, and you have this vision of transforming the world and helping others overcome. One of the things that I've noticed is when we want that external world to shift and we want to feel comfortable and at home, something has to change inside before we can receive the blessings, before we can move into a better space. What have you noticed? You have to be willing to shift inside in order to get to this better place.
I'm going to go back to self-love, because it was the first thing that I realized I had to transform in myself. People, especially if they've been abused or have PTSD, a lot of times they will overgive to everyone around them, including their jobs or their profession or their family members or their friends, usually in an attempt to something or another. Like I was doing it in attempts to not be abandoned. So I'm going to give love to every single person in my life, friends that don't even deserve it, who are not even nice to me. But hopefully when I need something, they'll be there. And of course they weren't, because it wasn't a balanced relationship. We didn't have healthy boundaries. They weren't in it for what I was in it. And when those relationships would fall apart, then I would go and blame myself. And I would be, see, I'm a failure. See, I'm unworthy of love. And all of that sounds terrible, doesn't it? And none of it is fun. And I didn't really realize I was doing that. So when I decided that I was going to have to make a decision, either I'm going to go, which was a terrible outcome, or I'm going to stay here. And if I'm going to stay here, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to put just as much effort as I did into my job at the studio to be perfect. I'm going to literally find out how I can help this. And what happened is I realized that I did not have love for myself. I really didn't. If anybody lived in my mind at the times that I was having a hard time, anybody would have wanted to leave. It was terrible. And now I literally actually, I equate it to like almost a romantic movie. I fell in love with myself.
Oh, that's awesome.
All those perks that I would put down about myself, I started to say, but that makes you cool, and that makes you original, and actually that's your funny part, and that's what makes you special and different. And I fell in love with all those things about myself that I used to see as negatives, or I used to when people would say them, and you know how people like to put us in labels for some reason, and I don't like to do that to people, but I like people to be aware of it, because we do it to other people. Like we judge and we criticize and we shame other people. Those are the three things that I've really practiced to not do for myself, but also for others. Those three things. But people would label me ditzy because I had blonde hair. And if I would tell them I wanted to be an author, they would laugh at me and go, but you're silly, Gina. And I'm like, but I like being silly sometimes. That doesn't mean I'm not intellectual. You know what I'm saying? So I learned how to love all those parts of me, and I fell deeply and madly in love with myself, just like a romantic movie. And then you don't want to hurt yourself when you love yourself. You don't even want to stub your pinky toe, by the way, let alone leave the planet. So that's how I can tell you that my suicidal ideation was completely transformed, because when I go through those things that are very heavy, which as I wrote this book, I was going through the biggest breakup of my life. I had been betrayed. I had gotten all my money stolen. Like really bad stuff happened while I was writing this book. And I remember thinking, wow, Spirit really wanted me to make sure that I was actually healed before I put this out in the world. Because not one time, not one single second did I ever say, I don't want to be here anymore. I knew I was healed. And that gave me the confidence that I could say to people, I know it works. I know it can happen.
Oh, that's brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant. And, I wanted to share something with you from a really wonderful woman, Marissa Peer. She's a very well-known hypnotherapist. She has rapid transformation therapy that she teaches, and she's got people worldwide who are teaching this. And she says, the irony here is that the only person you believe, when somebody gives you a compliment, the only person you believe is you. You often won't accept compliments. You won't believe what other people say because they're like, oh yeah, but this shirt's ancient. You know what I mean? You're the only one who can give you what you want. And so it's so important that you take the time to make yourself feel safe. There are 6 things that the inner child needs. The first one is safety. Make yourself feel safe. Talk to yourself, encourage yourself, reassure yourself that you are safe, that you are cared for. The second thing you need is to feel loved. There's nothing more powerful than staring at yourself in a mirror and saying, I love you. And it feels really weird at first. Keep at it, because you need to know that you love you. You also want to feel important. You want to feel like you matter. So tell yourself what is important about what you're doing and the meaning behind your activity. because sometimes other people can't tell what's going on. They just see you scribbling in a book, and they don't realize that your mission is to transform the world and eliminate suicidal ideation. I mean, you do, but nobody else does. So you have to tell yourself that you are important. You also want to feel a sense of connection, like you have access to other people, other resources. And hey, with Google, with all the podcasts, with all the different opportunities to connect with people, there has never been a better opportunity. Like we breathe together 3 times, our energy is permanently, perfectly, eternally connected at all times. Even if we never meet again, it is always connected. You can always tap into my energy and Gina's energy and immediately feel that lift because we are grooving with this divine energy. The last 2 things you need to feel seen and you need to feel heard. And you are the only one who can do that for you. Interesting, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So I do have another question for you, Gina, because obviously this is a road. This is a journey that we're on. This is not you don't have a magic wand to just wave over anybody who's dealing with suicidal ideation. It's a process that they need to go through. So if you were going to give us just a baby step, what would be the first thing you would encourage people to do?
You have to create a list of everything. You have to create a list of the wounds that you recognize. You have to create a list of the things that you like and don't like. You have to basically produce, or like you're producing your own movie or producing your own event. It's like literally understanding yourself the deepest ways so you can go to that when you're in a bad space. For example, if you have suicidal ideation and you know that you're, and in my book, we list the 5 different stages in suicidal ideation. So if you're starting to go down a bigger spiral, have a collection of videos of your family members. So of your kids, of your parents, have the tools readily accessible to you that protecting yourself, saying, I'm going to have a bad day. What's going to help me when I have that bad day? And then when you're feeling great, okay, it's time for me to work on some wounding. And I see these as patterns, whether it's like a fear of abandonment or, and maybe I need to work on that and what's going to help that. And list out, whatever it is that you need help with. Maybe I need to get a therapist, or maybe I need to find a group. Maybe I don't want to tell anybody. I will need to get a book. Maybe I need to do an event online. And you need to kind of like produce and manage it on your own. And you don't have to do it when you're feeling better, but then those are places to reflect. There's also a safety plan that you can make for yourself, who you can call. And if you're feeling good enough, you might want to reach out to the couple people you really feel safe with and say, there's going to be a time to time where I need to reach out to you. Can you be my person that I can call? And they're already a little bit aware of it. So they're not shocked when you call it in the moment. When you're having a bad day, and then they can just say, okay, I need to go outside and take a minute because my person needs to connect with me. So we can build this net around us.
Oh, that is so beautiful. Gina, wow. I mean, you gave us so many really important action steps that we can take right away that will really make a difference in our lives. And what I love about what you're doing, I mean, you didn't do this overtly, but I'm just going to showcase and highlight what you just said. You just pointed out how everyone is capable. They have skills, they have abilities, they have talents, they have interests, they have preferences. That's your resourceful that you bring to the table. You're also, no, that's capable. Resourceful is when you know that you can pick up the phone and call somebody. You know you can Google and get an answer. You know you can talk to your therapist. You know there are books available. You know there are experts available. You know there are events that you can participate online. You know there are support groups that you can attend. You have access to resources. The challenge is making sure that when you're on that fence and you feel yourself starting to slide down that slippery slope, you remind yourself that you are not alone, that you are very important on this planet. You are here for a reason.
Yes.
You are needed. You are actually in partnership with the divine. This is what I was shown during my stroke when I had a conversation with our higher power. You're in partnership with the divine. The divine is counting on you to act kind of like a fireman with a fire hose. And you're aiming the water, divine energy, at whatever problem is there. But you have to aim it. You have to say, I want love and blessings going here. I want support here. You are supposed to step up and participate. You're not on your own, not ever. And you are a vital member, an important part of this planet.
And when I do healings on people, especially younger people, they get this right away. If somebody is, if we're really in alignment with each other, I can get to a really deep part where I can show them a visual of what their soul looks like, because every one of our souls looks different. In my next book, I have a bunch of examples coming in, but we all look just like completely unique, like we're a fingerprint, right? We actually have an original name that our soul was given, that you can figure out what that is through astrology. We have an original sound, just like it sounds almost similar to like a whale or a dolphin. It has that kind of sound, but it's original to us. And our soul looks completely unique and original. And sometimes when you get into a really deep meditative state, you can see what your soul looks like. Believe me, when you see what your soul looks like, you never want to hurt it. You understand, wow, that is me. It's the most gorgeous thing I've ever seen in my life. It dances, and it dances with light, dark, and shadow. And that is what we're here to do, is light, dark, and shadow. So if you're fearful of I'm so afraid of the dark, I want that gone. It's never going to be gone. You have to learn how to dance with all these parts, dance with the shadow, embrace when you're in the light. Yeah.
Oh, this is so beautiful. And Gina, you've been incredibly generous, just sharing your thoughts, your ideas, your experience with us. And you also offered a really lovely free gift. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
I have a free book that if anybody is interested, I will send them to you. This is the book that I co-authored with Dr. Amelia Kelly. It's actually a really amazing workbook as well. And there's resources all the way in the back. Because the thing is that when you are in a state of one of the higher times of when you're not doing well, that's when you're having a hard time figuring out the resources because you're kind of panicking. So doing the pre-work and anticipating that you might get there, having these things ready, available by your bedside is really going to be helpful. Just like everything we spoke about. So you have the access to it. It's like, it's coming. I'm going to call this line, or I'm going to call this doctor, or I'm going to read this book or have it. So it's being in preparation. Excuse me. Yes. But I have a free book that I would like to donate to anybody who is interested.
That's so generous. And I'll make sure that all the information is in the show notes. So anyone who is interested in getting a copy of that book, or if you know someone who could benefit from having a copy of that book, show them how much you love and care for them and appreciate them in your life by giving them, supporting them with tools that can really help them through challenging times. Now, Gina, one of the things we always do here at the Abundance Journey, we love to turn the tables on our guests, because we know that when we give is when we truly receive the most. So what can we do to support you?
I just got chills. I love it when people ask me that. Well, the book is only $20. We made it that low, even though it's sort of a big book. And we went with the Swedenborg Foundation because they're a nonprofit. So some people are buying 5 books for me on my Venmo, which is the Liberated Healer, and letting me give those books away to people in my journey, because I go and talk to veterans, I go to schools, I go to all different places almost daily, and I'll run into people even at a coffee shop who will ask me about myself. And I'm handing out books left and right. I can't help it. So I've had people buy 5 books, which is $100, and say, Gina, you give them to people on your journey. So if anybody is really passionate about helping me, that I appreciate that so much. But also, if you can put a review on Amazon or other bookstores that you might have bought it for, mom and pops would be great too, because that's really the only way that algorithm can get caught up and people can find it. We
That's wonderful.
sold about 500 books in 30 days. So we feel like it's resonating.
Yeah, it's a very important message. It's really, really vital at this time. And I'll make sure that all your contact information, your social media links, all of that is available in the show notes so that people can connect with you and support you in a variety of different ways. But definitely get a copy of Gina's book. It will really support you on your journey, and it will support those you love.
Yes.
Oh, Gina, what an incredible conversation. I have several pages of notes, and now I have to pick just one of all these amazing things you said to do the Activate Abundance segment around. This is going to be a little challenging, I got to tell you.
Oh, good. Challenges are great.
Yes, they are. With so much abundance that you shared with us today, what an incredible blessing. I cannot thank you enough.
I thank you back.
All right, stick around because we're going to activate abundance in just a moment. Hi, it's Elaine Starling, the Abundance Ambassador, and I know since you're listening to this show or watching this show, The Abundance Journey, you really want to experience more abundance in your life. Well, that's why I wrote the book, 5 Steps to Activate Your Abundance. It's available for sale right now from Amazon, from barnesandnoble.com, and many international sellers. And I want you to pick up a copy because I'm really opening the kimono here and sharing all of the information you need to experience abundance in every single aspect of your life. The book's divided into 3 parts. Part 1 is called Meeting the Divine. This is where I share my near-death experience and the conversation I got to have with our higher power during my stroke. In Part 2, Messages from the Divine, I share the best practices that I was given, the secret sauce in how life actually works. And so you understand really why you're here and how you can make the most of your life so you love every single moment. And then in the Part 3 is Partnering with the Divine. That's where I go into each of the 5 steps to activate your abundance and explain exactly why it works so well. So take a moment to pick up a copy. It's available as an ebook, a paperback book, an audiobook, and a video course. So however you like to absorb information, abundance is waiting for you. Isn't Gina amazing? I mean, I'm just blown away by her generosity, by her enthusiasm for a very, very difficult subject. I mean, step 1 is gratitude. That Gina can openly, lovingly, vulnerably address her own issues with suicidal ideation and how she overcame it. That is incredibly profound. What an amazing role model. Super, super grateful that Gina was able to spend some time with us today. Step 2, acknowledge something you heard that was an aha for you. I really had a tough time picking just one. But man, when Gina said healing is a solo sport, I was just like, oh my gosh. Yeah, healing is a solo sport. Healing is a gift you give yourself. It's not like somebody out there has this magic wand that taps you over the head and poof, all of a sudden all those issues are gone. No. You're given this so that you can discover more about who you are and you can fall in love with yourself. I loved when Gina was talking about how she really started to love that she's silly, that she's quirky, that she's unique and original. And I got to tell you, I experienced the divine as effervescent joy, just over the top, silly, ridiculous, happy, excited, delighted. And when you're in that space of being silly, you don't care what people think about you. It's not about you. It's about enjoying the moment. And you're being your real authentic self, and you're showing up with grace and ease and joy and love in that moment of silliness and recognizing that and owning it. Yeah, baby, I'm silly. Get over it if you've got a problem with it, right? So acknowledging that healing is a solo sport, that was a real aha for me. Step 3, appreciate the difference it can make in your life. It's reminding me that I have the choice. It's a solo sport. So I'm the one who has to collect all the tools, all the resources, all the things that I need for my sport. Right? I get to know who I am, really understand what serves me and benefits me, and I can come up with a checklist of things that really uplift me and inspire me and empower me and pull me out of those dark spots when I go there. And trust me, everybody goes there. Everybody, me included. Okay? I haven't gotten so far as to get into suicidal ideation. I've been able to pull myself back up before then. But when you notice that you're starting to go down, it really helps when you've got that toolkit that Gina was talking about, so that you have lots of resources you can tap into and remind yourself of just how capable and resourceful you are and how desperately needed you are on this planet. That can shift everything. Step 4, we're going to activate it. We're going to go from a concept, an idea of healing as a solo sport, all the way to making it real, tangible, and alive in your life so that you're owning it, touching it, feeling it, tasting it. Okay? There are 3 different ways that you can activate abundance. The first one is to take a calendar and schedule time to get something done. Now, I include journaling here with scheduling time because I find that's really powerful for me to get that objective perspective on all the thoughts that are going through my head. And once I write it down, I don't have to keep thinking it over and over again. And often part of what really bugs me is that I'm chewing on that argument that I had with somebody and what I could have said, what I should have said, and I don't have to keep going down that slippery slope. I can get it out by writing it down. So that's one way that I can activate abundance. The second way is to create a physical trigger, like crossing your fingers or tugging on your earlobe. So I like when I start to think, uh-oh. And that can be my trigger. That can be my physical trigger. As soon as I think, uh-oh, it's like, wait a minute. I can be really capable and resourceful. And I love being silly. So I can touch the end of my nose. Uh-oh, touch the end of my nose. That's a reminder that I can be capable and resourceful and I can pull myself out of this situation. And that's all I need to do to it's like a flipping a light switch. It's immediately pulling me out of that dark space and back into grateful curiosity. I wonder which one of my tools is really going to serve me best right now. I wonder what incredible conversation I'm going to have with one of my lifeline buddies. I wonder what could turn out for me. I wonder what hidden blessing is in this for me that I'm just not seeing yet. But through this conversation, it's all going to be revealed. How exciting. It shifts you out of life is happening to me into life is happening through me as a blessing. The third way that you can activate abundance is to declare what you want. I am so happy and grateful that I have all these great resources, tools, access to incredible experts like Gina Cavalier, who can really understand where I'm coming from and pull me into a better space. They've been there. They're in lockstep with me. My energy's already connected to hers. So I can feel her regard, her love, her support, her encouragement right now, instantly. It really helps. I'm really feeling it. It really helps when you have an accountability buddy or a coach or someone that you work with. Maybe it's a therapist who can help you sort through your feelings and your thoughts and help you pull yourself into a better space because you are in charge of you. And you're amazing. Step 5, celebrate your progress. Isn't this cool? I mean, you have tools. You are so much more powerful than you realize. Truly, truly, you are in partnership with the divine. And the divine is counting on you to be willing to show up for yourself first and then for others. And when we forget to show up for ourselves, that's when we tend to hit those roadblocks. And that's when we tend to go sliding into depression. So remember just how powerful and amazing you are, and that we love you and we believe in you. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you next time for the Abundance Journey.
You've been listening to the Abundance Journey Show with Elaine Starling. Visit theabundancejourney.com/podcast gifts to access today's gift, as well as gifts from our other guests. Tune in every week to activate abundance in your life and business. If something resonated with you, please share it with your friends so they can benefit too. Keep activating abundance, and we'll see you in the next episode.